And I am live. Awesome. Hopefully this is working. Vlog Thursday, episode 90, playing with Wi-Fi is what I'm doing at the moment, so I figured I'd throw that in there. Actually, Wi-Fi and Bloomberg. I think I can change this after I start. Let's see. Woohoo! It works. All right, this is not going to be a super long one. I have been busier than usual, so which is good. It's a good busy, and been playing with some Wi-Fi, and because of the popularity of my Wi-Fi video, let me turn my phone off. I didn't do that. I didn't do enough testing, I realized, because a lot of people had questions. So I now have one of these ALFA networks that allows me to connect even faster to there. So this is a USB 3 ALFA Networks card that allows me to connect up to AC 1300. So it's pretty slick. Ticketing system, news is coming on my ticketing system because we're working with the folks at Invoice Ninja on their ticketing system and how they're integrating it. You can find, there's information on it. You can find, I don't have any information on it, but that's just not to get too far off here, but yeah, that's the ticketing system. So for now, we're actually just using Invoice Ninja, mostly creating quotes and invoices as tickets. So anyways, back to the Wi-Fi. So right now it's connected. I got the driver compiled and it's connected at 1.3 gigabits, but I'm having some weird issues. And I'm sure it's me, so I'm not blaming any equipment because I'm not getting as fast a connection as I was on my laptop. Now it claims to be faster, but the throughput, I think I said that word right. I think the throughput is not the same. So that's actually what's up on the screen here is I just rebooted the server that was running iPerf so I can do some testing with this. So let's see. I think there we go. iPerf 3 to this IP address. Oh, there we are. Now it's working. So it was definitely a server problem. Or not. So that actually looks like it worked. Let's go ahead and do that. So that's impressive. If I did this correctly, and so you guys can get a better idea what's going on here, go down to the bottom window. Oh, no, it's connecting at 1.3. I wasn't getting 1.3 out of it. So, you know what? Let me make this bigger. Let's make this easier for people to see. View, bigger. There we go. All right. So let's break down what's going on here. And you guys maybe, of course, I could simulate anything, I'm sure, but I want you to trust that I'm doing this right. So we're going to go IP address. And what we're going to show here is WLXOCC da-da-da-da-da. That is my wireless device right here in my hand. And the IP address is 192.168.3.224. So that's the Wi-Fi device. Here is, and this looks kind of messed up now, but this is the iConfig for this. And let's show you the commands. Why not? Let's break this down. I had way too many windows open anyways. You know, I have the weirdest hard time typing when I'm like on live stream. My typing gets way worse. So what this at the top window you're seeing here is just doing a watch iwconfig and then the name of my adapter. So Watch Wi-Fi is telling us, and it's updating every 1 second, here's a bit rate of 1.3 gigs, threshold 100% signal, what Wi-Fi we're connected to. It's a Unifi device. And we're going to go over here, and then we're going to go iPerf. And we're binding iPerf, -S for server, -B for bind, and we're giving it an IP address to bind to. So we're going to bind it to this IP address here. All right. And now we're going to go here. We're going to split this. And SSH, we're going to jump over to another server. Now, this is 3.2224, and this is 3.110, so flat networking, as in same LAN. This is a virtual server, so there's that. And now, we're going to run iPerf-C, so we're going to connect back to my computer here that has 3.224. So iPerf-C, 3.224 client connect, and let's see what kind of speed we get. gigabit speed. I think the limitation is the fact that I only have gigabit on my computer and gigabit on the other end of this. So the Wi-Fi device has the potential to connect at higher than gigabit, but I'm only connected at gigabit. So that's how that's working. But yeah, it's kind of interesting. The one thing that's annoying right now, let me close this down. So yeah, we're getting gigabit speed out of it. So now I can do further testing with this, and there's going to be a separate video. Whoops. Actually, let's just split this. One of my annoyances I've run into, though, is Wavemon. Wavemon I use for Wi-Fi testing, and it doesn't like this device. I don't know why. It understands the device, it sees it, but it won't give me signal information on it, and I don't know why. So it does sometimes, like it's going to pop up and give me it, and then it'll go away again. But it's not giving me all the other details, and I don't know why. I don't know if I had to compile a driver for this, so I don't know if that has any effect on that at all. But in case it does, that's an issue. But nonetheless, this is USB 3. It means that it can go faster than gigabit networking. So at least I've eliminated that bottleneck. And now I can do some more subjective testing and at the same time give you all the details, because I want to do some speed tests, because some people really care about the speed of their Wi-Fi devices. I guess as they should. And I have a Unifi device that I'm going to connect to. Another one. We have a few of them. We got a lot of things here. And I hope this doesn't affect the live stream in any way negatively. Let's find out. We're going to switch my networking to my Unifi comparison network. All right. Let's see if that works. It's unassociated, and now it is. 1.3 gig Unifi comparison network. Cool. So now we're on this one. Let's go back and split the screen here. We're going to run the iPerf again, bind it to that. All right. Now, this is where I run a problem, and I don't know what caused this. See how it only is doing 192. But I'm going to reboot that server, and then it starts working again. Let's watch the server reboot. It is this server here. So there it is rebooting. It's a virtual server, so I know there's some bug that's causing this, and it's only doing it with the Wi-Fi. It's not, I don't know. This is a puzzle. So the server's rebooted. Log back into it and run the test again. And now I have more speed. So by the way, this right here is now connected to a Unifi APC HD. So let me pull that up for you. You drag it over here. So here's that Unifi we've nicknamed Big Brother. It's an APC HD, and I'm the one client connected to it, and you can see the IP address right here. It's probably small on the screen, but it's 192.168.3.24. So, can you show me how to build a Unifi controller again, especially when the updates, because mine never seem to work? Yeah, you know, because there's a new version of it out, I'm going to do another walkthrough, because last week we built a new VM during the live stream for my Unifi that runs both my Unifi controller and runs my Unifi video. I run that on the same virtual server. I built it during the live stream, goofing off and kind of talking my way through it. It's not too hard, so I've done enough times. I think I can do a pretty concise video on it, so I can get people kind of up to date on the easiest, best ways to do it and how it works. It's really nice. I see people arguing with me. One person says they didn't like Linux; they want to only run it in Windows. I don't. No, I haven't seen that many problems on the Unifi software for Windows, but it works great in Linux. Like, it has been the most headache-free. We've got a lot of clients in here. We have a ton of APs in here, and it's been really smooth. So I'm real happy with it overall. Running it in a Linux server. Matter of fact, when you get like the cloud key, it's running Linux, which is also kind of if Unifi does it, I should probably do it too. So it has no problem though achieving the speed. So here, like I said, here we are, and this is over the HD one, and we're getting pretty much gigabit speed, which is, I'm impressed. Now for comparison here, my other IP address is .9, so we'll go ahead and break this down. We're going to run iperf, and we're going to bind it to the .9 address now. And this is the wired network, which again, we're getting the same speed. Actually, I should stop that because it may screw up the stream because I'm saturating my I have all the Unifi, not the Unifi, YouTube Live is routed over the .9 address, so I probably shouldn't oversaturate that particular network. that seems like a horrible idea. But it works. You can see I'm getting gigabit speed over that. I've got other things running on my computer, so there's other factors that may slow it down. And I don't use this computer as a test environment. I'm going to have a couple physical machines on a physical network when I do my testing. So, let's see. Someone says works great on Windows. I haven't run in. We have a couple clients that for themselves are running their system on Windows because they have servers. They have used Windows servers in their environment, so we just load it on there. We didn't need to spin up a special Linux server just for them, so no big deal. It seems to work perfectly fine, the controller software, so not really been an issue. Works great until Windows Update deletes your files. Yes, that is the fun of the latest update that shreds your files for you. That's certainly a thing. So, yeah, that happened. Good news is it didn't happen to any of our clients. Microsoft actually estimates it's a really, really low percentage that it happened to, but any percentage that it happens to is bad. Bad. Horrible. Like, this is not something that should happen. So, yeah. In early Unifi, it didn't run a service, so I had to start up and haven't had to change a thing. Yeah, as long as it's running as a service, not a big deal. It's been a long time since I've had to load a new version on Windows, and not that we don't update our clients, just I don't do it. I have Steve is usually the one in charge of that, and Eric does it, and Kyle does it, and I don't do it. So, yeah, so that I know it. I think it has more service options now. I know they've enhanced a lot and done some updates with the Windows installer for it, which is wonderful. They're maintaining it, which is great. So definitely pretty cool there. Like I said, very happy with the overall with them. Which on forcing of updates. Who forces updates? Microsoft? Oh, Win 10 updates. It is what it is. You're insecure if you don't. Your files are shredded if you do. That's the current version of damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because I don't. It's pretty ridiculous. Loving the Facebook discussion on SolarWinds. Yeah, people are arguing about that. So I don't know. I'm happy with SolarWinds. Anytime someone goes on a rant about SolarWinds, I look at their other posts and I go, yeah, you seem to rant about everything. Like, I don't know what low. I mean, hey, nothing's perfect, and I'm always reevaluating. Should we stay with SolarWinds? But if you look at a couple of people, and then people talking about the forums, and this is specifically in one of the IT business owner Facebook forums. If you look at the people who are saying cool about SolarWinds, you got me, and you got a couple other really companies that are substantially bigger than me going, yeah, we use them and they work great. The people that are really complaining are the people who are a one-man show, small offices. Maybe they have 2 employees. It's the smaller companies that seem to complain the most about all the stuff. And I'm like, what are you guys doing that you're having? Someone's like, oh, my bill goes up and down. I can't figure it out. I'm like, their price breakdown couldn't be more clear. And I don't know. I'm not going to show you my invoices, but I will tell you they're really easy to read. There's nothing complicated. If my bill went up or down, I would know. And it goes up as we onboard clients. It's concise. Matter of fact, it does price breakdowns per client site, which makes it easy because you can do the math. You can go, wow, I charge a client X dollars, and I pay this dollars to SolarWinds to the client. And honestly, SolarWinds is not my biggest expense by far. Have you worked with StarWind vSAN? I have not worked with StarWind vSAN. No experience with it. I am a subscriber to the SolarWinds newsletter, and I happen to know a few people at SolarWinds. They recognized me when I was at an event. I've been in their video. I've been featured on their site because I'm one of the few people who've independently, not sponsored, has done reviews of their products. So I'm pretty overall. I like their stuff. Nothing's perfect. I mean, it's not like everything about it is just amazing, but easy to understand, and they handle all the licenses for me. So that's one of the reasons I've talked about it in the past. Like, I like SolarWinds because they roll in all the license costs. They roll in all the feature costs as checkboxes. So when I deploy it to a client, I have my costing for MSP, and I'm not chasing licenses. I have a lot of things to do. Matter of fact, that's actually what the last week has been, is a headache of things to do. And if you didn't see it, well, let's go ahead and drag it over here. I tweeted this the other day. These are the things sometimes that Tom gets called out to, because it was supposed to do this, and another vendor comes out there and they break our wire and they break the stupid pull string, and then this little twisty thing they were trying to shove in a hole and pull it out. Things turn into kind of a mess. And then if you're wondering why I didn't do any videos, this is why. I've been in meetings. I've been doing just one thing after another that has kept me from doing any videos lately. And then I sent out, over the last few days, probably 11 proposals. And a few of them got approved, like, as soon as I sent them. So that turned into they wanted me to meet with them, because these are all local stuff, not as much the YouTube stuff, proposals that we do. So, and just before, I plan to start at 3. And out of the blue, randomly, phone call comes in, and it was another proposal that is getting approved. Well, they wanted to know if I was on for Monday, and I just flat out told them, I was like, hey, we still on for Monday? I'm like, remember when you missed the phone call last week? They're like, yeah. I said, I also didn't see the deposit check. They're like, oh. I said, I don't order parts till I get my deposit check, because it's a lot of hardware we got to get for this. So it's just, yeah. So they kind of kept me from making videos and everything else. Good news is we got business coming in, so these are good, busy things. Windows 10 gets Candy Crush and a few other games in every major update. You remove it and it's back on the next update. Yeah, that's true. I'm lost in Windows a little bit because I don't really use Windows anymore. I've been running Linux full-time for years. It's my desktop, and we use Linux on the desktops here at our office. Pop OS is what we're going on right now, and it's been happy times, man. Linux is great. It's not the year of the Linux desktop, as everyone may say, but no one's writing software, and I've said this before, and I don't know if I've done one or I can't remember, or I would definitely do one. No one wants to use Windows. Your applications are choose your operating system. A lot of people don't realize this. Applications choose your OS. It's not like one of the clients we were just working on and finishing some problems and troubleshooting for. It's not that they want to use Windows. They actually are completely platform agnostic. They don't care. They have no loyalty to Microsoft. They're a carpet company that wants to sell carpet. Whatever tool sells their carpet, they will use. So it's the applications that really drive people to use Windows, because it's the long tail of legacy. They've had the same application platform for 17 years. And the company doesn't intend to write a Linux-based version. It runs on Microsoft servers. It uses Microsoft's Active Directory integration for user validation authentication. It's woven into the fabric, so they're going to continue to have Windows desktops, and whatever the cost may be, whatever the inconvenience may be for them, that's how it is. But if you really look from a software development standpoint, no one is writing anything for Windows anymore. No one. There's only support. So no new coders are going to school and, hey, man, I'm going to go build the next Windows application and things like that. Because let's look at the example in front of my face right now. Here is this really slick, awesome interface that allows me to show all kinds of cool stuff, show clients, be interactive. And let me switch over to another site. Here we go. Here's my office. Here's a dynamic map, and I can see all the devices connected. I can see all the wiring and how things are plugged in. And I'm doing all this in a web browser. So exactly why do I need an application loaded on my desktop? This is why no one's developing desktop applications. It's just not necessary anymore. That's the old school of all this. Right now, it's like, look, we can just go through here and do all the different stuff, all with those fancy web interfaces that are really slick. Here's another one here. Look at how extensive this is. I'm controlling, orchestrating virtual machines and moving things around, completely doing it with just a series of clicks through a web browser, including an interactive terminal. And why would I want to load an application to do that? So this is why no one's doing it. So people will move away from Windows in a heartbeat. They just need to make it look the same. Is my company seasonal? Not really. Only outdoor Wi-Fi projects are seasonal, so that's the only seasonal part of it because we don't really want to do a whole lot. Let's see. Trends go up and down. Right now, the economy is good here, so people are spending money. Pro N version. Send a user video on WhatsApp demonstrating how to put paper into a printer. Yeah. What is Bloomberg? Bloomberg is stupid. We're going to talk about this real quick. Bloomberg, China. So this story keeps getting worse. Full coverage of the market sell-off. Yeah. So Bloomberg is not a unreputable company when it comes to the reporting and journalism they do. So they're not someone who's just kind of willy-nilly on this. They're respected, large number of journalists and very interesting. But they made the claim that in 2015, Amazon Inc. became quietly evaluating a startup called Elemental Technologies, and it reads on from here. The short of this is it's referred to as a supply chain attack, and it's the concept that someone put chips on Supermicro, what it looks like based on illustrations, which I don't know how accurate that is, modified chips that were able to hack servers. Now, there's some plausibility to this concept, and supply chain attacks aren't new. Matter of fact, let's look up Krebs on security printer China. So Krebs on security, wonderful reading, and there's all kinds. He covered. It's been a while. So he's covered this one, but he's covered some other attacks as well, and it's really interesting because yes, someone could do a lot of these things, but would they? Did they? There's no evidence in this. There's all this talk, and they only have one named source, and the one named source they have even thinks his quotes are all out of context and doesn't feel good about the story either. So this whole China hack with Bloomberg thing, I did a couple videos on it. I'm waiting to see if there's any new information after this. I'm going to have to call it bunk because Bloomberg has to basically put up or shut up. You have to give us some proof. Now, granted, there's going to be NDAs, so you can't say companies, you can't say people's names in this, and all that fun stuff. And I get that. That's perfectly fine when you're dealing with potentially state-led malware. But you have to show us, just tell us what chip to look for. Don't worry. There's an army of us out here who are willing to start disassembling these. You just got to point us in the right direction, and that's what they're not doing. So, yeah. It's interesting. You switched over to free PBX to dedicated hardware yet, or still running a VM? Still running a VM. I just haven't gotten around to moving it there. So, yeah, I don't know if I'll move to hardware. One of those ain't broke, don't fix it. So my free PBX is right here. And it's just sitting on a virtual machine. I did a demo video, too, of moving free PBX over to another machine, like live Zen Motion, and moving it from machine to machine while calls were going. It's actually really slick and works really well. So I don't know if I will or won't switch it over. Well, those, like I said, ain't broke, don't fix it. I've looked at 3CX. I'm probably going to be a reseller for 3CX. I've just been busy and haven't had time to finalize things. I set up an account and played with it. It's pretty slick. I like it. I like some of the integrated features it has, so it's pretty cool. I think 3CX makes a pretty nice phone system. They have one thing I'll say about the 3CX system is it's nice. Like, it's very slick looking. All right. Sorry, I just got distracted by all the messages, and I need to open this messaging thing. So I still, even though I'm doing it early, I'm waiting to see. All right, cool. I'm just checking my Slack messages. Sorry for my distraction. All right. Oh, this is a good story. I'm excited about this. This is something I want to share with all of you. So, this is really cool, and I was confused earlier and upset. Hey, Canton, Ohio. That's not very far. Cool. I keep seeing ads on Facebook. 3CX, is that the one you host on AWS? Yeah, you can host 3CX in whatever cloud you want. 3CX is not based on Asterix, though. 3CX is a different system altogether. So it is not like a fork or version. It's a very customized system. So it's not like free PBX where it's got this Asterix based on there. So this is something I think is really cool because the feature that I like the most of all of them was the call screening feature. If you'd seen, the Pixel 3 came out, and I'm a Pixel 2 owner. I got to admit, my Nexus 6P was one of the nicest smartphones I've owned. My next best one that I have owned is now the Pixel 2. I absolutely love the Pixel 2 XL. Super happy with it. It's great. And then the Google Assistant stuff is pretty cool too. So that's something I really like. I know I'm an open source guy and I like privacy, but there are other things that matter to me sometimes, like getting work done. So there's parts of my life that I surrender and say, hey, yes, I'm willing to use your service and your AI system to answer spam callers. That's exciting. That's fun. Because now we're going to have automated bots calling an automated Google AI system, and I'm suddenly out of the mix. This is so happy to me that I don't have to get any more spam calls. Matter of fact, I think the only calls I get on my cell phone are spam calls. Probably 90% or more of them are spam calls because no one calls me. Everyone messages me. And everyone who do, anytime I'm on the phone, it's with our business phone system, so I don't have a direct line in here. You have to call and get my extension, dial my extension to get my phone to ring. So yeah, that's exciting to me though that Google's doing this. That's like, oh yes, it's just going to be bot wars. There's going to be like wars of bots spamming each other, but that's okay as long as they're not bothering the humans. I'm good. I'm good. Unifi Protect. Oh, this is a hot button topic. I am going to do a video on it. I've been wanting to because I've talked to a few of my Unifi friends on it. I know Willie covered it, I think, in his live stream Saturday. So I don't know a lot about it as far as testing with it. So I haven't done anything. But I will say this. Unifi, it was interesting to me that Unifi, the video software, the NVR software, that they'll let you run it on any commodity hardware. But through people we have helped through troubleshooting and through troubleshooting we've done on our own, the time when we've had the most problems with Unifi wasn't with Unifi. People blame Unifi, but it wasn't their problem. It was people not configuring it because they underbuilt the server, didn't build it properly. So now Unifi has a problem with that. And I could see a problem with that. I don't know anything internally about it, but this is definitely going to be a brand issue for them. So Unifi wants their product to work and everyone to celebrate how happy it is. And on properly built servers, we have no problems at all with the Unifi system. But on improperly built servers, there's a big problem with it. It has all kinds of hangups and pauses and slowdowns and everything else. So I have a feeling this comes down to people custom building them causes kind of a branding issue with them. Like, hey, people are complaining about it, but NVR servers are both dedicated and they really need to be well put together. So I think when they start controlling the hardware is probably why they're going to do it. Now, I hope they do release it to the public, but I don't know if they will, and I think I know why. It's a difficult thing to support that in the market. I really wish there was, and people ask me all the time, hey, Tom, what is the best open source video controller program out there? And I'm like, I haven't really played a ton of them, but all the ones I've seen, they're very in the early stages of their products. They have a long way to go before they've really reached where I would even ever consider installing them with a client. And there's not a big push in the market to build a big open source NVR. So there's a lot of proprietary systems out there. We've put in a lot of Unifi systems. When we properly build a server, we're really happy. They work well because the server can keep up with the demands of having that many cameras right to it. But we also use ExactVision systems, and that's another popular one. Now, ExactVision is interesting because they will let you build on commodity hardware, but it's not cheap. So it's an expensive system. But it works. So, yeah. It's an interesting discussion. I'll see how it pans out. Certainly the demand because of the way Unifi's products are and the fact that there's a lot of love in the, I'm almost going to call it the tinkering home lab community and the enterprise community as well, don't get me wrong. But there's a certain crossover because people who work in the enterprise markets often tinker with this at home as well. And people who start tinkering at home often have the goal of working in the enterprise market, and you bring forward with you whatever products you're using. That's how the ecosystem of IT works. So it's going to be interesting. Definitely something to think about, something to look at. I'll follow it. I don't know if I have anything more to add to it that other people probably didn't say already. Yeah, I have not played with it, the new NVR software at all. So just haven't done anything with it. But yeah, 3CX is pretty cool. What are some other questions people have? Throw them out there for me. I still got the Wi-Fi testing, so do we have any changes here? Whoops, nope, that's not the right one. Turn my Wi-Fi back on. Does it still have speed? It sure does. Cool. That's fast. This is impressive. I like this thing. That's definitely pretty cool. Open source and Linux. Yeah. I love everything to be open source, but some things can't be. Well, I say not can't be, just aren't. We're seeing more and more stuff become that way. I've tested Nextcloud. I don't have a use case for Nextcloud. It's not that I don't like Nextcloud. It's my lack of a use case for Nextcloud that makes it more of a problem for me. If I had a use case for it, I'd be like, oh yeah, let me do it. We use SyncThing. I should realize I just rebooted my computer before I started this, and so SyncThing wasn't running. Make sure there's no IP addresses shown. All right, it's not. But SyncThing is how I keep everything in sync. So as I edit any files or anything, it just constantly updates, and it syncs to my FreeNAS, and then my FreeNAS syncs. I've done a couple of videos on this. My computer is constantly synced to FreeNAS, so it's pretty cool. It works well. What do I think of Graylog? Graylog is pretty neat, but it's complicated, so I have not done a whole lot on there, so yeah. Can Zen server do cluster without licensing? Sure can. You can set up, as long as you're using XCP-NG Zen server, the open source one. 3CX versus FreePBX? I think 3CX is going to be easier for me to resell. That's what we're looking at probably as a product platform to resell. But FreePBX, we love it. That's what we're using here. We really like it. But I think 3CX has a easier path for reselling it as a cloud-hosted application. Because we have so many of these small offices, they don't always want on-prem equipment. So 3CX might be a better fit for them. Looking at QNAP Synology or FreeNAS Mini, could you recommend one or the other? FreeNAS all the way, big open source guy, and I love ZFS. So ZFS is just hands down the way to go and makes your life better. That's why I'm so bullish on there. Synology reached out to me recently, and they want to send me a demo unit for stuff, and I don't mind testing it. I don't think they make a bad product at all. I favor FreeNAS. That's my preferred brand. We've used them. It works really well. Zimbra Office is pretty cool. Vios. Yeah, Vios is neat. But boy, are you ready to just run your firewall from the command line? Sure. I mean, if you don't mind writing all the protocol stuff from the command line, absolutely. Yes, I did see that Microsoft is sharing patents for the in the Linux community, which is pretty cool. Yeah, if you want something more power, I mean, just go build one. Is the FreeNAS Mini underpowered? That's a matter of opinion. I've seen people complain that, oh, I can go buy this commodity hardware and it's faster. And I'm like, FreeNAS Minis have IPMI, offline BIOS management. Like, they're a serious piece of equipment. And yeah, they're nice. I'm not a big MikroTik fan. So as I understood, it said MikroTik when I've looked it up. So we'll look it up again. Make sure I'm seeing it right. Pronounce. Whoops. They have it. MikroTik pronunciation. Someone has in here. Yeah, MikroTik. That's according to the MikroTik people, how it said. Anyways, I'm not the biggest fan of the MikroTik. They seem to have a good value versus feature set. Like, they're not very expensive, had a lot of features. But the other side of it is they are a little bit more difficult to configure. I don't think they make a bad product, but if it's difficult to configure, and the fact that a company would make a product that's not secure by its default configuration is what has led to the disaster of compromised MikroTik routers all over the place. So, derp MikroTik hacked. So we have lots and lots of no, don't translate. What? Oh, let's see. I think the Edge router was based or is based somewhat on Vios, so I'm pretty sure that's true. I have a Dell R210 thinking uses a pfSense. Any suggestions? Does the R210 too? Does it have an does it do AES-NI? I don't know. That's an important feature. Here we go. Thousands of MikroTik routers hacked to eavesdrop on network traffic. They have created a mess in the network right now. And yeah, 200,000 routers. Now, it's not exactly their fault, but it is their fault. And there's a reason I'm saying this. They did make a mistake. They did patch a mistake. I understand security mistakes are made. What I don't understand is why a service that had a vulnerability in it, they may not have known about it and they patched it, but why was that exposed by a default configuration? So, yeah, I don't get it. So, not completely understanding it is definitely confusing to me. I don't get it at all. If you're going to build something, build the damn thing secure. Draytech, you know, I've never really dug into them. Someone said Draytech are kind of popular because of they boot really fast or something like that, but there's nothing about them that was compelling to me that made me think I wanted to have one. I've seen them here and there. They seem fine, but yeah, there's nothing about them that made me. You got to have a couple things going for you. You got to have an amazing track record of security. That's it. First and foremost, my product choice has to do with security. Then After security, then I'm going to look at features and functionality. Is this thing stupid difficult and going to be a pain in my butt? How are the updates handled and support? And then we're going to move on to other features they add on there and longevity of the company. So a whole series of things. So I'm using a pfSense APU C2 can't route over 700, but Linux can do 1 gigabit. That's why I asked about BIOS, because it's backed on Debian. I can tell you that I have shown even the small Netgate SG3100 can route at gigabit. So it's not pfSense has no problem routing at gigabit. pfSense can route at 10 gigabit. The BSD PFW firewall system. I was just at a presentation on this the other day. A local BSD group given by, and he's been on our channel before, Michael Lucas, and we went in depth on it. There's a reason that he said right now we're at 25% of the internet is routed through BSD. So I forgot to ask him where he got the statistic, but trust me, Michael Lucas is not a guy to just make claims and say things. So of the internet, whoop, no, not rule 25. 25%. We'll do this in real time. We'll try to find a fact. I can type. Runs on BSD. Somewhere. It's for the routing. I don't know. I'll find the statistic and maybe share it again sometime in the video. But anyways, my point is BSD is super solid. There's a reason companies build networking equipment on them. When networking equipment is frequently built on BSD because it has extensible routing and things like that. Now, when you look at something like BIOS, they customized the kernel to be able to support, and the kernel's gotten better over time to catch up with the ability that you had in BSD. BSD's ability has been amazing for a long time at doing high-speed routing and switching. So, mail scanner, haven't used it. Suggestion on what for making backups of unraid VMs without shutdown pause. Never used unraid. I don't know. In Zen Orchestra, you click on the magical backup button, and it will take a properly Q-sliced snapshot, and then you can restore it at your leisure. The backup and restore that you can do in Zen, both from the command line, which I've done a video on, and through Zen Orchestra, is beautiful and simple and easy to move around. So but I have not used unraid, so I can't answer the questions. Yeah, Amazon's talking about getting into the own white label stuff. That's going to be very interesting if they do. If Amazon produces white label networking gear, watch out. Label network gear. EAR, for those that can spell. Where's the article? I read it a while ago. It's been a few weeks since they announced it. It's been really interesting. Yeah, I don't see it in here yet. They have private label brands, but I don't know what they're going to do. It's going to be really interesting. Yeah, Space Invader 1, I will actually can probably pull that guy up if you look for this guy on YouTube. Just Google Space Invader 1. He has a lot of videos on Unraid. He's actually done some pfSense videos too. I never watched any of them. I don't know. I'm going to pause that. I don't want to get in trouble for saying. He's got a weird choice of graphics. Also, Confusion. This is done in July of 2018. He's using their logo from a few years ago. Oh well, I mean, his choice. But he does a lot of Unraid videos, so. So running pfSense as a VM is kind of a headache. It can be. The problem you run into, and I sent someone a link recently about this. I don't know. So please note, see how this one's got the little BSD logo guy, which is kind of cool. This does have the Zen tools loaded. So I do have Zen tools loaded inside of my lab one for when I do testing. But let me log into my lab and show you one of the problems that you're going to run into. Hey, here's one of them right here. There are performance issues that I keep running into when I run it in the VM. I don't know if this is these problems persist inside of VMware. Whoops. But if we go here, firewall traffic shaper, I can't create rules for the traffic because the firewall interface assigned is not capable of Alt-Q traffic shaping. So there's certain hardware interactions that BSD has with the network interface. You lose those interactions. Now, there's a workaround again. You can go through and hardware pass through the network interface. So you could put a network card and then map the network card interfaces through into this. The reality is, I think they have built-in support because if I'm not mistaken for VMware, if you go to the package manager, actually, I don't think it's a package anymore now. If I'm not mistaken, let me see if it's even listed in here. I think it just installed automatically. Yeah, the VMware tools that are built in, because VMware being a big popular, they built in all of the features in there. So there's some things that don't maybe work as well. I don't know. I don't run it virtually other than for testing. I pretty much run it all the time on hardware because it runs directly on a hardware. I know there's no issues. If I have to reboot my Zen servers for some reason or there's any issue with them, I still have internet access, which I care about because usually if something doesn't work, you can just Google it. So, yeah. I don't know. I haven't tried running it in VirtualBox in a while, so I don't run it a whole lot. Like I said, it's just for testing. I have a managed switch, and now what? Create a VLAN for Google Home, Chromecast, Apple TV. Where do you draw the line? Which devices and connect to what? It's not hard to get the VLANs running. That's actually pretty simple. Where are they? I'll actually show you. This is I don't feel like opening up Windows right now, but if you go to hosts network, you just put the VLAN tag in. That's it. Nothing else. There's the VLAN. VLAN 10, VLAN 69, VLAN 50. So when you're building adding a network, you just fill in the VLAN and it works. There's no secret to it. I've got a video I did on this, and yeah, you just put them in. So I'm doing a network segmentation traffic video that is on my list. I'm probably not going to get it done till Monday, but I'm going to break down. I'm going to probably use pfSense as a demo, but I'm also probably going to at the same time demo it with Unifi and maybe some other devices. But it's going to be a concise, just what you should or shouldn't. It's kind of a talking through networking and setting up that. I'm going to use pfSense, like I said, because I'm used to it as an example, but it's not the end-all solution to all this. So I know there's other people and they're using other devices, so we'll cover it like that. Yeah, the hardware pfSense, just in generally speaking, it doesn't take much. The only thing that takes a lot when you're running pfSense is if you try to run things like ntop PNG. If you want to dig deep into your network and you want that tool like ntop to run inside of pfSense, well, now that's going to really use up some processor power. Once you're doing things like that, that's when you want to consider it and go, hey, okay, I need a faster one. If you're just playing around or you just want it for routing and firewall rules and traffic shaping, that's like no processor power at all. That doesn't hardly take anything to run. And anyways, if you do, I've done video on ntop, and ntop's a really great tool, but the version that comes with the package maintainer inside of pfSense is always a little bit behind. So ideally, you want that data sent to something else. And someone mentioned like Graylog. There's other tools that you basically go into pfSense and you say offload the data that way so it can do the more in-depth analysis for it. Monitoring alerting, we're starting on, and if anyone's looking at my screen here, and we're testing out moving to Zabbix for things. So the Zabbix is pretty slick. If you haven't heard of it, it's a very big open source monitoring system. So they make a really cool dashboard, everything. This is free, by the way. Yeah, Zabbix is great. So we've been looking at it. I maintain stuff right now in OSEC, and OSEC is good, and we're probably going to continue with it because OSEC, I have some active security set up in it, but we're probably going to look at a Zabbix solution for some bigger stuff. Everything else we're using SolarWinds. Grafana is pretty cool. Zabbix actually has dashboards, metric collection. Let me see, they got some screenshots here. And we'll do the risky search. Here we go. Here's some screenshots. Zabbix has menus and graphing and statistics in there. Here we go. So yeah, Zabbix is pretty full featured for network monitoring, server monitoring, setting up triggers and alerts. So yeah, and you know, I went and myself and said, maybe someone's got a good Zabbix video. No, so it's going to be something I do is make some Zabbix videos when we're done. I'll make some videos about the whole setup. I've got friends using it, so I've played around with it. It's pretty slick. Nagios is another one. If you haven't played with Nagios, is really nice. So I'm going to be doing some playing around. I'm doing some comparison because once I go all in on one of these, but I'm really leaning towards Zabbix because I just like the integration with it. The thing with Nagios is, let me show you guys here. Nagios is popular, and there's actually there's some good YouTube videos on Nagios. So nagios.org, I can get the source code from. Nagios.com, I get the commercial version. Now, they're very similar, but you have to do a lot more compiling and manual when you're using Nagios open source, and that's what you get when you buy their license version, is all their updates and everything else. But Nagios is a really nice system as well. Yeah, Grafana is just a pain to set up and everything else. And there's other companies out there that just do alerts like PagerDuty, but Zabbix is a whole lot more than that. And both Nagios and Zabbix are both integrated into tons of different things. Plus, if they're not integrated, they support SNMP monitoring, so you can do SNMP monitoring of just general devices, even older firewalls or pieces of equipment don't have direct integration. IFP sends a new C300 platform. I get the does not have, yeah. Yeah, there's some of them that just, it may not support it, so. Yeah, Zabbix is pretty cool because something kind of neat here, and I'll show you in my pfSense lab. Zabbix can proxy things through into the dashboard. So like this person had mentioned here, if you go to your package manager, available packages, I'm going to go Zabbix. So Zabbix has the proxy option in here. And what it does is, let's say I have a bunch of computers at a remote site. You can proxy them to the pfSense, and then the pfSense can relay that information back in. So Zabbix has the ability to have essentially like concentrators that relay the data back to you, and it's all open source, very slick. And the cool thing about Zabbix is there's commercial service offerings with them, but you get the full version compiled and updates with it without paying license fees, which is kind of cool. And I don't mind paying license fees. I pay for SolarWinds, I pay for products, we pay for Screen Connect. We don't mind that, but there are some issues with that. Some horrible contrast on this. Yeah, I don't know. I was playing with it. Probably not my favorite one. I was just goofing around with this. But anyways, I unfortunately have to wind this down. I hear my ride. He has arrived because I am going to a podcasting meetup. So a couple other things that I do when I'm not doing this and doing videos outside of tech, but kind of inside of tech, is podcasting, as you know, for those of you that listen to me on Sunday Morning Linux Review. But I also created some content for some new media companies that are starting up, and I'm meeting with some more of them, talking about it. I do public speaking. I'm on a board meeting. I'm on the board of the Chamber of Commerce. I'm also going to be speaking at the MEDC, which is the Michigan Economic Development Council. So there's a few other things I do, in case you're wondering, that keeps me away from doing videos every now and then. So, and it's one of those things I have to leave in a few minutes to go do. I got to drive to Detroit, and the good news is there's usually beer at these events. So that makes the event. I got to talk to people about podcasting and content creation while drinking beer. It's not bad. It's not a bad thing at all. So definitely going to have fun doing that. What else was I going to mention? Oh, what else? Nope, I can't think. It was something. I always go to my photos because I take pictures of everything. Nope, I can't think of anything else. But videos are coming for the couple devices I have, the Wi-Fi testing. That's why I got the stuff on there. So definitely going to do all that. So would running Plex on a separate machine kill my network? No. Plex should run on a FreeNAS Mini based on the processor in it. I don't know. I'm not a Plex expert. I don't watch a lot on Plex. I'm going to do some stuff on it, though, soon. But anyways, I'm going to hop off here. But I do have those tests coming. I got the fancy Wi-Fi device. I'm going to review this specific device as well, this ALFA Networks, because it's definitely really cool. Libre NMS is a neat product, too. I played with Libre NMS. It's like a shadow to Zabbix, though. So Zabbix is really good. So, all right, look for videos and all that fun stuff. And I'll be rocking them out. Send questions, comments, go to our website. Thank you, all of you. There's now about there's like 37,000 people on there now. So thank you for all the subscribers and all that stuff. So awesome. You guys have a great day. Look for me on the Twitter. You can find links below and all that fun stuff. So, all right, take care.